Shortly after, Emperor Nephron once again called me in to meet with him. Thank you for meeting with me like this, Princess. I called you here to inform you that I've come up with the perfect plan to lure the Order here. You have? That's great. What's the plan? We're going to host a ball at the castle. What? A formal ball, as in a social event that involves dancing. As a princess, I'd think you'd be familiar with the term. I am familiar with the term. Why the surprise, then? That's just, not the kind of master plan I had in mind. Couldn't you just call them in for a meeting or something? I could, but this way is much more fun, wouldn't you agree? I guess. The ball is scheduled for a week from today. You should take this time to prepare. Speaking of preparing, what am I going to do about finding a dance partner? I think I need some air. I decided to get out of the castle for a bit and head into town. What should I do? So we could buy some stuff. Hello, how may I help you today? Buy... I got 175 gold. It's not enough for a booster. I don't really need to get any more gifts for Duren. He's already at a red heart. I think a bouquet of fanciful flowers is the one that gives you kindness. And they're super cheap. But sure, we'll buy one. But I think we're just gonna volunteer a couple times and call it good. Maybe we'll donate. Spend our hard-earned money by giving it to someone else. Oh, oops. Welcome, welcome. We can really use your help. What would you like to do today? Find lost item. I spent several hours helping a particularly chatty woman look for a lost purse. But while it wasn't the most amusing way to spend my time, it was well worth it. The woman even gave me a nice reward for helping her. 50 gold. In the original version of the game, every instance of this gave you 200 gold. And when I revamped the game and did a bunch of updates in 2016, I was like, that's really not great. There's a balance issue there. It was too easy to make monies by just doing this stupid church quest every time. So I made it so that the first time you do it, you get the 200 gold, but then subsequent times are only 50 gold. So it's not quite as lucrative. Because it wasn't really fair to, most of the other actions don't give you that much money, except for like the tournaments, and then it's really rewarding the player for like doing the mini game, right? And doing the mini game well. Whereas, just clicking a button isn't worth 200 gold, as it were. What should I do? I have 2 actions remaining. We'll just do the other volunteering actions. Now, DUREN'S secondary stat preference is strength. So if we didn't want to keep building kindness, we could also build strength, and that would contribute to his affection as well. Let's console the grieving. I talked to a poor little girl whose dog recently passed away. It was heartbreaking, but I hope I managed to cheer her up, even a little. And one more. I honestly, since Duren's a red heart already, I could have just skipped this and said return to the castle. But I did that in Corellia's route last week, and I was so paranoid afterwards, like, wait. What if I didn't have enough? What if I didn't actually have him to a red heart? What if I imagined it? What if I don't have a high enough stat? Well, you know, it was like, okay, this time I'm just gonna go ahead and use up my actions, even if I don't really need them, just in case. Just in case. It wasn't much, but I donated 25 gold to a family that was left homeless after the war. I felt it was the least I could do. When I returned to the castle, I found Duren waiting for me. Hey, Duren. I'm assuming you heard about the ball? I did. That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, Duren, I'd love to. Love to what? Never mind. What is it that you were going to say? Well, I was thinking this would be the perfect opportunity to take Neferon out. Neferon! Oh, right, of course. And again, we're just like casually talking about killing the Emperor in the hallway. Oh yeah, have I mentioned that there's a bunch of content warnings on this game? For all the mentions of, you know, poison and murder and assassins and violence. Just wait till next week. That's the real violence. Oh, right, of course. Since he'll be busy with the guests, it'll be the perfect time to round up the royal guard. Once we have the ballroom surrounded, I'll need you to distract him and give him this. He handed me a small liquid-filled bottle. Is this poison? It won't kill him. It'll just knock him out long enough for us to arrest him. Right. Duren, kindness. Kindness, right? If it were Zuleika, it would have been poison. just like how she poisons Neferon and some of the other roots, right? Or how she was planning to poison the Order. So much poison. Oh my gosh. I'm counting on you, Zuleika. I nodded silently, a bit disappointed. Oh, and, yes? I have something important to ask you. We looked into each other's eyes, feeling the familiar bond that had been between us since childhood, a bond that was now stronger than ever. The young prince then took something out of his pocket, a small leather pouch. It had a blue flower embroidered onto it, which I recognized to represent absolute loyalty, in this case to the prince. I gasped as I realized what it meant. He kneeled on one knee as he presented it to me. Zuleika, I wish for nothing more than for you to stay by my side, and for us to rule this nation together. Please, will you be my royal advisor? The joke there is that, you know, he's on one knee, he's like, hey, I want to rule together. And the other roots, Shale's, at least Shale's root and Curly's root to an extent, they asked her to marry them. But instead, Duren says, will you be my royal advisor? I can accept, or I'm sorry, but I can't. Let's accept it. Received embroidered satchel. Of course, I accept. It's truly beautiful. Thank you so much. Notice the little flower on the pouch. I was surprised to see a small smile spread. Small smile? Where did I get that? I was surprised to see a smile spread across his face, and I smiled cheerfully in response. We'll make this nation great, I'm sure of it. With you by my side, we'll accomplish so much. We'll make this a place worth living again. That sounds really great, Duren, and I'm so happy that I'll get to be a part of it. That I'll get to make this nation great with you, together. You'll go to the ball with me too, won't you? I would love to. Alright, we've got over 400 kindness. That's quite enough of that. And surprisingly quite a bit of charm. It's from talking to the peoples. But yeah, I think there's only one more chapter, but we'll find out. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it was the last chapter. By the time I arrived at the ball, the room was full of guests, many of which I recognized as nobles from the high court. As I entered, I searched the room for Duren and quickly found him. Wow, Zuleika, you look beautiful tonight. Not that you don't usually, I mean. It's alright, Duren. I know what you meant. Thank you. May I ask you for this dance? I'm not actually very good at dancing. You have such a wonderful free spirit, Zuleika. It's one of the things I admire most about you. If you put those same feelings into your movements, then I'm sure your dance will be great. Aww. You really think so? I do. Well then, let's dance. One of the things I recently updated with this version is that for all the other guys' accessories, they showed up even with her ball gown, but I set it up to not show. I originally set it up to not show the little pouch with her ballroom dance, and then I realized you only get to see her pouch then for like that one scene, and then you never get to see it again unless you toggle it on while playing one of the other routes, because once you have received it once, now it's unlocked and you can put it on in the shop if you choose like the magical wardrobe, whatever that is. Sorry, I think that's spam probably. I don't know what to do about it. Okay, anyway, so you can show it in any of the other routes, but in this route where you receive it, the only time you actually got to see it was in that one scene. So I did add it here, even though it looks a bit silly. It looks really silly. It looks like she's got a fanny pack on. Like, beautiful ball gown, fanny pack. But that's alright. It was important to me, okay? Well then, let's dance. As the two of us began dancing, I stumbled a lot at first, but soon we were gliding across the dance floor. For a while, I was able to lose myself in the movements and the pleasure of his company, but eventually, cold reality set in. It's time. Are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. I'm counting on you. As I planned with Duren, I asked Nephron to meet me in the ballroom after everyone else had gone home. I was nervous, of course, but I knew I had to be strong and push my fear aside, for all our sakes. I didn't expect you to wish to meet with me like this, Princess. After all, we have a date in my chambers tomorrow, remember? Also, wasn't there a plan to deal with the Order? Or did we forget about that? Probably the second one. I've just enjoyed our recent visit so much, Your Majesty. I simply couldn't wait to see you again. Is that so? Yeah, I know it's spam. I don't know what to do about it. I don't see a way in my little widget to like block them. Oh, maybe? Oh, there we go. Okay, well, I blocked him, but like, I don't know if that helps anybody else. Or if it's just me. Anyway, okay. Well then, I suppose I shouldn't deny a lady's request. Right on schedule, one of the maidservants brought us some freshly brewed tea. Thanks to my preparations, however, the tea was specially brewed with a heavy dose of sedatives. Ah, thank you. Just what I needed. Would you like some too, little princess? No, thank you. I had hoped that my response would deter him, but he poured me a cup anyway and handed it to me. Come now, I am sure you must be parched after all that dancing. No, really, I'm fine. But thank you for offering. Please, I insist. This wasn't looking good. I took the cup and sat with it, waiting for him to take a drink. Go on, drink up. Wouldn't you rather I sing something for you? I know the perfect song. Nephron frowned at me, and for a moment I feared that he had caught on. Very well. Now, you might think that this is him being stupid, but I kind of think, based on what we're gonna learn next week, that he's actually doing this on purpose. That, like, because, you know, obviously he was suspicious, right? So for him to just be like, oh yeah, sure, doesn't really make sense. He took a drink, and within seconds he was fast asleep. Just in time, too, judging from the commotion I could hear going on outside. I motioned to the maidservant, who was still nearby, and she brought a pile of heavy-duty rope. The two of us proceeded to bind the Emperor's hands and feet as tight as we could manage. I could hear swords clashing and took a peek outside, but I couldn't tell which side was winning. I suddenly worried about Duren. He was an excellent fighter, but would he be okay? I just love the cartoonish mental image of him tying him up with rope. Like, I'm not sure that's how coups work. Peak, not peak. Did I have another typo? Did you did you see the typos earlier? Man, where was that? Oh, yeah. I'll just add it to my list of typos and bugs to fix. Oh gosh. Just then, the doors burst open and soldiers filled the room. I was relieved to see that it was, in fact, Duren standing at the door commanding them. As a couple of soldiers carried the unconscious and bound Nephron off to the dungeons, Duren came over to me and, much to my surprise, hugged me. It's all over now. We won. Thank you so much for everything you've done, Zuleika. I couldn't have done it without you. Prince Duren, I believe this is yours. He handed him Nephron's crown, which he rarely wore, but which signified his rank as the Emperor of the High Court. With the transfer of the crown, that title fell upon the young angel soldiers, and he accepted it gracefully. With this, I vowed to serve the people, to serve my country, and to change the nation of Tyreka for the better. Everyone applauded and cheered for the new emperor. Duren's eyes locked with mine, and he held out his hand to me. Are you ready, Zuleika? I nodded happily and took his hand. He addressed the crowd now. This is my new royal advisor, Lady Zuleika. As the crowd applauded, we smiled and looked at each other, still holding hands. I'm so happy that you're here with me. Together, we'll make this country great again. I know, you'll make a fine Emperor Emperor Nephron. I'm so sorry, Durin. I'm so sorry. You'll make a fine Emperor, Durin. Thus began a long age of peace and prosperity for the nation of Tyreka. The two of us ruled the nation together for many years, and we would be remembered fondly for many more. And that is my story. Woo, we got an achievement. And I sat through the credits last time, so I don't think I'm going to do it again. And here we go. Alright, so that was Duren's best ending. So my question from the beginning. Why isn't Duren a true love interest? Well, if you guess that Duren is gay, ding ding ding, you're correct. And you might be asking, but Sarah, why is there a gay love interest in an Otome game? Well, I didn't create these characters for this game. They were my original characters, and I thought that it would be funny to throw these super tragic characters into a cute little dating sim. But halfway into it, I started getting serious about making the game, and that's kind of how it ended up being the way it is. AKA most of the plot and character development happening off screen. So, Duren existed before throwing him into this, but you know, kind of made sense with the theme, right? You've got Zuleika, girl surrounded by pretty boys. Anyway, so Duren's gay, and it's heavily implied that he has a thing for Shale. Remember that conversation at near the beginning, where he is talking about how amazing Shale is and all of that. Anyway, I do feel a bit bad looking back on it, because I kind of made it into a joke, right? You have all of these, most of the hints are very joking, right? Like the one where Duren's trying to explain that it's easier to talk to Zuleika, and comparing that to talking to a guy and how that easy that is. And Zuleika has the option to be like, oh yeah, I like boys too, or you know, at the end, the joke where he goes through all these motions, and you think that he's gonna why is he a stinky blue fruit? I am assuming you don't mean that in the like mean way. Why is he blue? Is that what you're asking? He's blue because I wanted him to be blue. Actually, it's because he's inspired by, or his character design is inspired by, I want to say the name is Magnus from Ogre Battle 64. I had a big thing for him back in the day. He's very pretty. And he has this blue hair with a little braid. Big fan. Anyway, that's why he's blue. Because he's based on a character with blue hair. Anyway, so anyway, in the remake that I announced forever ago that I may or may not be working on, I do plan to be more upfront and intentional about Durin's route being a purely platonic one. Because he and Zuleika really do have this like deep connection. And it's so rare to explore non-romantic relationships in Otome games. So I'd really like to do that justice. But I don't feel like I did it justice here at all whatsoever. Anyway, thank you all for joining me today. I'll be doing one more live stream for Memoirs of an Angel. Same time, same place, next Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll be playing through Nephiron's route, which is part of the same path as Duren's, so it shares a lot of the same scenes, but has a very interesting ending. But can you truly live happily ever after with a villain? Find out next time on Anigrams Plays. Bye!